Hey, Captain Bob here in the old garage. Well, I started a new project. Yeah. You know, I made, some time ago, I made a stovetop, gas stovetop out of wood, just for, so I don't have to deal with all that grate on a gas grill. So this little wood top, it's nice for making sandwiches or whatever. It's not really a cutting board, it's just a nice decorative top to put over that stove when you're not using it. So anyways, made one for somebody, and it came out pretty good. And then we have actually have a gas stove down in Florida at our condo. So I told Bobby, I said, well, hey, why don't we just make one of those wood stove covers for our stove down here in Florida, or down there in Florida. So anyway, so I'm working on that. Let me show you what I'm doing. Probably dropped the darn camera. So anyways, so over here, so over here, let me flip this around and get over on this side of the bench. So I went back and looking for some wood to make to use for this stovetop cover. So I had a bunch of leftover cutoff pieces of this is actually maple from the Dan Thomas bar that we made about a year ago, I guess now. So there was all these little drop pieces that I just can't throw anything away in the garage. So I got all these drop pieces here, and I thought, you know, I saved them all because, well, I just can't stand throwing anything away. Yeah. So I figured out now this stovetop, it's got to be 20 by 29. So I'm thinking, well, I got all these pieces, so I ended up cutting them. I'm cutting this drop pieces of maple. I'm cutting them all 1.5 inch squares. Kind of cool. So I'm just going to put these all together, 1.5 inch squares, grain one way, grain the other way. Assemble this, and I'm going to glue all these 1.5 inch squares onto a 1/2 inch plywood base, basically. I hope this thing isn't going to end up being too heavy. So I got a nice piece of plywood behind me here. It's actually 21 by about 36, so I'll cut it down a little bit. So I'm going to cut that plywood, and then we're going to glue these all down. And then around the perimeter, I thought, well, I'm going to make probably put on around the perimeter a piece of either cherry or walnut. Probably going to go walnut because it'll be a contrasting color. It'll be real dark against this light colored maple. So I'll put a walnut border around it. And then I might go so far as to actually put a little brass inlay between the walnut and the maple. So that's what we're working on. The thing is that I'm cutting all these doggone little squares, and by golly, there's just a little bit of burr on everything, so I got to sand the edges of each piece with the sandpaper just to knock off the little, see the little whiskers there, those little whiskers, because that's going to interfere with the gluing operation when we get to that step. And so to make this 20 by 29 stovetop cover board, I don't know what you call those things, I figured I got to have 216 of these little pieces that I got to cut out. So I got 140 here on the table right this second, and well, I got 140 on the table, and I got to cut a few more. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that, and then I'll check up with you later. So with that, you all have a nice day, and adios. Well, that's some coarse paper there. You know what? I got a finer paper over here. Put that on. Got a little high spot right here. I got to take care of. I'll do this. I'm going to run. I'm going to put. This is not too bad. I'm going to run this a little bit more. Well, anyways, that's looks pretty good. I'm kind of happy with that. I'm going to sand this some more, and yeah, I'm going to sand this some more. I got to put some grips over here. Some wet glue on the table here. Some grips here. Pick it up. Not sure I like the handle idea. I'm just going to put some grips here, I think. Once I cut that grip, there's no on cutting it, that's for sure. Oh well, let's see. Alright, well, I'm going to continue sanding this, and I'm just going to turn you off for a little bit. Y'all be good. Okay, well, there's our, I remember what they call this thing. They call this a noodle board. Yeah, it covers the stove top of a gas top stove. It covers all the grill, the grate on a gas top stove, so that you can whatever, make sandwiches or whatever. Just makes that a little more pleasing to the eye. Anyway, so there was first coat of varnish. Varnish isn't too good, but got a nice brass inlay there. Came out pretty sweet. Walnut trim. Yeah, I'm not going to put handles on this. I just put these little cutouts down here, routed out a little finger hole right there to pick it up. So we'll see how this works. Anyways, came out nice. We'll just continue to put varnish on next couple of days. Okay, Kim and Bob here in the old garage. We're working on our noodle board, and I just sanded this, and we're going to put what I hope to be the final coat. This is the coat on the bottom first. We're going to do the bottom, and then I'm going to flip this over, and we're going to put a coat on the top as well. So, bottom. Don't want to get it too thick on the bottom, because otherwise it's going to drip. Then I don't know if I have enough varnish in this can here to finish both the top and the bottom of this. I may have to mix up a little more varnish. There's a big bristle floating around in the bottom of the can here. I want to make sure I don't pick it up with the brush. So, we got this pretty good. I'm actually wondering if I should just let that set for a little bit. I know I'm going to get a little speck more varnish in here. drips all over the side of this thing. That was good. I think I'm going to go ahead and varnish the other side. But otherwise, some of these little drips that are on here are going to firm up, and then I'm going to be stuck with a big drip. Let's see if I can. Alright, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip this over. I just know I got to put a little more varnish in there. I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to take it in the other room and varnish it. I'll bring the camera in a minute. Let me just get this flipped over. And in the other room. Alright, let me go. Boy, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have just a little more varnish. Just a speck. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit in there. Gotta get some more varnish anyways. It should be alright once I get a little bit of penetrol in here. And I'm going to mix this up. Okay, so here we are in the other room. I got this thing sitting on I put some screws up into a 2x4. So the point of the screw is what's supporting this in 4 places. And we're just going to towel and wipe that off one final time. I got this cat cloth. I know I used this a couple times already, but I think for this final wipe it'll be okay. Just set it some kind of place right there for right now. Sounds like a good spot. Okay. I gotta get rid of that little rag. Okay, here we go. Now, I might have thinned this too much with that penetrol. I don't know. Thin it too much, it's going to run like a bugger. You don't thin it enough, and it starts coagulating before you can brush it out. So I don't know. It's a fine line of love and hate there, I guess. Whatever. Yeah, well, there's a spot there that didn't get sanded very well. We'll see how the varnish heals that. I don't know. Sometimes I get in a hurry and then only to find out that I shot myself in the foot and we got to put another coat of varnish on because we got too many runs and drips and errors. Alright, so there we go. Looking good so far. And you put this on nice and slow. You can get a heavy coat on here, but you got to make sure you get the bristles down there in the wood so that the varnish will stick. Because sometimes it'll just ride right up on top there and leave a shallow spot. And, well, it sticks out like a sore thumb when the finished product's all. I want to get most of the varnish off the brush so I can do a final swipe along these sides here to pick up any little drips that have occurred, particularly on the bottom. Those are really annoying. The big goobers that just are annoying to the hand and to the feel of the whole project, so I want to avoid that. Yeah, see, there's one little spot right here. There's some little specks there that I don't know if those are an air bubble or if that's a little piece of dirt. It's hard to tell exactly. Play with it too much, you end up causing a lot of damage to it. So whatever, it's best to just do the best you can and wait for the final results. Hopefully everything will turn out well. Yeah, I'm dragging this brush along the sides, but And I'm letting some of the bristles hit the bottom of the board to get any drips off of there. I don't want the bristles to drag on the top of the board because they'll leave some unsightly marks. So just let it go on the bottom of the board, and hopefully they'll pick up any little drips that we have occurring under there. Yeah, that looks good. I'm going to grab the camera and I'm going to show you what. Yeah, we've got a little bit of varnish left. It's going to end up going to scrap. Okay, let me grab this, and I'm going to show you underneath there what we got going. Let me just see here. I got to turn this around. Boop. And I'm going to loosen this. And we're going to go right underneath there. So you see what I did? I got those screws on the 2x4, and they're just holding up that thing, and you're not even going to feel those little buggers, those little holes, or those little pinpoints, once she's all dried and completed. Doesn't look like we have any drips under there, so I'm pretty happy with that. There might be one little drip on this side. I'm going to get the brush before I call it quits. So, there you have it. One noodle board, all done. And we're waiting for the varnish to dry. We'll check it out later this afternoon. And that's all I have. Adios.